Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 18 of It's Cool with Jasmine Cool. Um, this past week has been kind of really boring. Oh, I just thought of stuff to talk about. What do you know? What do you know? I just bombed an oral skills test literally like half an hour ago. Um, right here, too. Uh, because our oral skills exams are like take home. So they're like online and we do them here. The reason I know I bombed it is because I had like 1 minute left and like 3 more exercises to do. We had an interval chain that was like a series of 4 harmonic intervals. So like 2 notes would be playing at a time, and then it would be like 4 sets of those, just like random ass intervals, right? Um the most we ever had on our homework was 3. Uh and um I was bad at them anyways. Um so there's that. Goodness gracious. It's also really cold in here, which is why I'm yawning. And also why I'm wearing 2 shirts. Um but yeah. So I just bombed that. Um for the second set of interval chains, I quite literally I listened to it once and just wrote down notes in the general shape of the line. I was like, I don't have time for this. And then the last thing I had to do was 4 seventh chord inversion identifications, which takes me a bit. And I probably could have done it and probably done okay, but goodness gracious. I just didn't have time. And the recordings were super slow, which would have been good if I had the time to do them. Right? Because, like, you know, um, because it would play the chord and then it would arpeggiate the chord. And the actual helpful part is the arpeggiation of the chord. And it also played a cadence beforehand, and the tempo was really slow. So it would be like 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 5, 7 in inversion. Except I'm singing the 1 note for some reason. And then it would go like note, 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 and then play the chord again. Which would have been really helpful if I didn't have literally a minute before I had to turn it in. I'm like, just play the fucking arpeggiation. And then I didn't have time to actually sit there and think about it. So I just wrote stuff. I mean, there was a 1 in 4 chance on all 4 of them. It's entirely possible I got none of them correct. Yeah. But that's fun. It didn't help that I wasn't wearing long sleeves, and you might be like, oh, what does that have to do with anything? Well, I was doing it on my computer, like with my little pen. So, and the screen is like touch screen. So when I wear long sleeves, I can like pull this over and hold this so that the side of my hand, like I can pull my sleeve over the bottom part of my hand so that when my hand is resting on the screen, it's not actually like touching anything. but I was wearing a short sleeve t-shirt, so my hand kept like touching the screen. Oops. And then like it would just like go crazy. I'm like, just fucking stop. My roommate was probably having a great time this morning. This happens a lot though. Like it's kind of understood that like, especially because aural skills, this is the good thing about having a roommate who is also a music student and we're like literally in the same classes, because like I'm sitting over here going like do ti do do ti la so fa, like just constantly, and not even in that range. It's more likely like, because they put everything in these weird ass fucking keys for no goddamn reason, just to make it harder. I could tell you so much about why it's so dumb, for one, that they transpose the aural skills listenings, because they'll have us notate, say in like C major, but they're actually playing it in like E or something, to make it harder for people with perfect pitch. And to kind of get us to think intervallically. But really, what would be more useful? Learning to think intervallically and having good pitch memory, or just learning to think intervallically? Because we'll still do it either way. But if we all develop better pitch memory, I would argue that's more helpful. But of course not, because then it's too easy for the people with perfect pitch. Fuck that! They already have an advantage. They already know what notes are being played. So even if you transpose it, they just transpose it back. Honestly, I've been transposing since middle school. Probably like a little bit before. Like if I just knew what notes were being played, I probably could have tested out of aural skills. That's a bit of an exaggeration. I don't know that I would exactly know how to apply everything, but I would definitely not be struggling. If I had to do this, what I'm doing right now, I would be living my best life. Because you know what notes are being played. I wouldn't have to pause it after every beat and write down and then sing it back to do for half the notes. But no, they're in different keys. Which it does fuck with me sometimes, because I don't have perfect pitch, but I have an idea, and I've definitely gone on this rant before, this exact thing. But I have an idea of where every note sits in my range. So when something is very obviously not in the right range, I don't know, like my brain is like, that can't possibly be right. Yeah. I got a haircut. It's very short. I kind of feel like I look like my mother. It looks bad right now because I need to wash it, but it's short. Again, I'm gonna style it today with my own stuff. I'm discovering that quite literally, oops, sorry to the people just listening. I'm discovering that I am quite literally the only person on the planet that knows how to style my hair. Because every time I go to a hair salon, every single time, I walk out thinking, you know, so Hold on, I gotta check something. Okay, we're good. Yeah, I walk out thinking, I'm not so sure about this. But then I style it myself, and most of the time it's like relatively okay. I haven't actually done that with this one. This one is starting to grow on me, even the way this hairdresser styled it. I went to a different one that I've gone to for like the rest of my life, pretty much, because that person is like super big, super booked all the time, and also is like 3 hours away. So, and I needed a haircut. So I looked, because I live in a very white area, and the white hairdressers normally don't know what they're doing with curly hair. So I specifically looked for one that said that, and the only one I could find was a black man. And I was like, okay, I trust that. And it's like in this other salon with a bunch of other white ladies, but you know, it said in his bio like curly hair was fine. I made the mistake. I slept on my hair wet the night before, so my curl pattern was like fucked and like weird. Um and then so he was like kind of confused, but he could also tell that my hair would curl, but my hair is weird in the fact that the top of my hair curls very differently than the bottom underneath, because this is very tight curls. They'll tighten up a lot, and the top, depending on how it's styled, will just like stay kind of wavy, which is what it did. Because the way I get it to curl actually is I have a cream slash leave-in, I have a gel, and a mousse that actually has hold, and then I flip my hair upside down and blow dry it. And the upside down part is actually very important, because otherwise it just doesn't work. I don't know. And also the other thing that I think kind of drives hairstylists nuts is I don't really like my I've when I started embracing my curly hair, I embraced the wildness of it. So like my part will be parted like on the side somewhere, but it's like never there because I constantly run my hands through it. Which you've never seen me do here because I have my headphones on. But when I don't, I'm like constantly running my hand, like flipping it back and forth. So there's like the part isn't exactly important, but it is to hairdressers. um, and I think he accidentally parted it a little farther to the side than I wanted, which is a vibe sometimes, but like not really with the haircut and like what I was going for. But the good thing about curly hair is that like I can cut it and fix it myself pretty easily. So my plan is to style it myself and then like trim up anything that needs to be like fixed still. It was a very anxiety inducing and nerve-wracking experience because I've like never done that without my mother before. And um I've also never met these people before. And when I normally go to the hairdresser, it's somebody I've known since I was like really little, who's been cutting my hair since I was really little. So it took her a couple haircuts when it was curly to like learn actually what my hair was going to do, but she knows what it's going to do now, mostly. And so she's like very familiar with my hair, and like my mom usually takes care of all the payment stuff. Um and then like there's also there's also because it's in like a smaller area where I normally it's like still kind of a city, but it's like um smaller, like generally, and the place is just smaller. So there's like no receptionist. There's like a little lobby area that has like the stuff receptionists would normally take care of, I guess, that I didn't even realize that was how it worked. There's like a Keurig with tea and stuff. And then my hairdresser suite is like just to the door, and then everything is taken care of like with her individually and yada yada yada. But I get here, I walk up to the receptionist, I tell my name, and they're like, "Get you checked in here. Do you want anything to drink?" And I was like, I think I'm good for now. And I look very visibly anxious when I am anxious. So, yeah. And they're like, "Do you want me to take your coat and hang it up?" And I was like, "Sure." It was strange. And then so like, "Feel free to take a look around." And I was like, "Okay." So I wandered and then sat down and waited. And then the guy came over, much less talkative than my usual hairdresser, but still pretty nice, and also much faster. Because I love my hairdresser, but she takes like multiple hours to cut my hair, which is like kind of nice though, because yeah, I have a lot of hair, but he was very nice. Um, yeah, but I was still nervous. So yeah. And the other thing I normally do when I get my hair cut is my sister is also there getting a haircut. So that's not every time though. That's just like most of the times. But I was there by myself. Ah, for crying out loud, if I don't stop yawning. Last weekend I got to see my sister and my friend. My friend's younger sister was in the same kind of, my sister was in an honors choir, and my friend's sister was in like the middle school level of that honors choir. And she also came for like a college tour, and then she wanted my version of the tour because they don't actually, she's also looking at the fuck, I have the hiccups now. She's also looking at the conservatory, and they don't really show you the conservatory on tours. It's just you go in and out. So I showed them like every building in the every room in the conservatory. The conservatory is only like one building. So yeah. And then so I showed them that. And yeah, what else happened this week? Oh, maybe this weekend my friends and I are going to start like a Dungeons and Dragons like one-shot thing, because one of my friends is like super into it and wants us all to play, and my younger brother has been telling me like, "I think you would be really good at this," because he plays. So it's like it's a mystery at the masquerade. We're just waiting for one of our friends to finish her backstory. Because sorry. We were kind of planning to do it last Friday, but she didn't have it ready because she had like a really busy kind of shitty week, because her professor kept like adding assignments that were not on the syllabus and then expecting them to be due like the next day, which was kind of ridiculous. But we're planning to do that this weekend, which will be fun. I'm a pirate, a half elf pirate, because that makes sense. But yeah. Um, I had thought of other things too. Oh, I got a counseling appointment finally. I might have mentioned it last week. I think I should have mentioned it last week that I had one scheduled, but it actually happened. Woo! I cried. Yeah. Um, yeah. And then I have another appointment scheduled. But it was like the introduction, and then like she just asked me a bunch of questions. I was crying like 10 minutes in to like the whole fucking hour. And then I think I was actually wearing a sweatshirt. Um, and then when I was crying, I was rubbing my eyes, and my skin is really sensitive because of my acne medication, especially around my eyes. So then it was like really red for like a while after that. Um, and then it was a good, I think it'll be a good experience though. It was funny because I started crying when I talked about when, because I live in a small town, but I used to live like in town, and then I moved like right around middle school to being in the country, like in the middle of nowhere. Um, and I started crying when I was talking about that and how I would get lonely in the summer because I was like so disconnected from everything, because like the rest of my friends at the time lived within biking, if not walking distance of each other, pretty much. Um, so, and I didn't even, like, for some reason, my brain never even made that connection that, like, the moving to the country was something that affected, like, my mental health and relationship with my friends. My relationship with that friend group was not really good, anyways, even though I didn't see that at the time. Loud trucks, I don't like them. But I didn't even like register that as something that had an impact, because the counselor asked me if how I like coped with that, and I said, well, I have my siblings and we're really close, so I just like hung out with them. And then she was like, well, that's good that you're close with your siblings, but I also understand that they're not the same thing as friends. And I was like, oh. Yeah, because that never really seemed like a valid thing to complain about, or like a thing to be struggling with at all. It was like relatively fine in the summer because I would have things like, summer softball or basketball or stuff like that. But it was still kind of like, it was hard for me to hang out with them, like outside of things like that, because I was so far away and I didn't really have anybody that could drive me anywhere. Like, my older brother didn't have his license until I was in like, would have been like 7th grade. My dad was always doing like, in the summers, it was like travel baseball. And my mom, I don't know, didn't really want to do that. Plus I never really asked. This was part of my like, I don't know, I kind of talked about this last week. I don't know what friendship is supposed to be like, quite frankly. I don't understand it. Um, you know, like how you ask to hang out, how much is too much to hang out. I literally said this last week, but it's still a thing. So, yeah. Um, oh, I got some really cool stuff. My roommate and I went thrifting like last Thursday, I think, we went thrifting and I got some really cool stuff. I got this like cute little like grandma sweater. It's like short sleeved and it's like coral and these other colors and it's got these square little coral buttons. It's adorable. Um I got a pair of brown dress pants. I didn't really need another pair of dress pants, but I don't have a brown pair yet, which is a pair that I kind of needed. Um and then I got a green sweater vest that's like straight out of the 70s. Matches my style perfectly. It like it was fantastic. I was like, "Oh my god. Wow." Um it's got gold buttons. It's like forest green. And it's Talbot's. And I got it for like $5. The problem is I can't wear it yet because it's dry clean only and I don't want to wear it until it's like been semi washed. But I'm going back home at like the beginning of February. So I'm just going to take it to my grandma then because she'll know what to do with it. Because she also goes to thrift stores, so she kind of knows what to do with stuff from thrift stores. And then the next day we went to Marshall's because I wanted a pair of overalls, but they didn't have overalls. Not a singular pair of overalls in that place. But I did end up with another new sweater vest. Another sweater. Um let's see. Sweater vest, sweater, hangers, and I got some other stuff. What did I get? What all did I get? Oh, tank tops. Oh, and a new like performance shirt. It's like satiny. It's a V-neck. It's really nice. I'm kind of in love with it. And like finding a satin shirt that's actually that my shoulders are not too big for is a feat. But it's great. Another thing I got from the thrift store we went to was these two necklaces that are like super cute. There's one that's got like a little opal. I don't know if the opal's actually real, but the necklace looks really pretty. It's kind of old looking, but like old looking in style, not like I mean it looks kind of thrifted, but it doesn't look like old. And then this one that just says like sexy going down and it's so funny. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Um what else? What else did I do this week? What happened this week? Oh, my friends and I all got matching sweatshirts that say sorry for having great tits and correct opinions. We got them all in different colours and they're all here, well, except for two. One of them just wasn't there yet, and the other one, she accidentally sent it to her house. So we're waiting for her mum to send it to her at college so that we can all wear them. It's going to be great. I went British. But I'm honestly shocked this is the first time that's happened on here. Probably because I'm more aware of what I'm saying when I'm speaking on here. But this is a regular occurrence, and it also happens with my roommate because I don't know. And then we'll just be speaking British for a while. Um, Unlike our hypothetical barbecue, where we go as about as Midwestern as we can manage and talk about this hypothetical barbecue, that's very intentional and very like scripted, um, except not scripted. It's like an improv game. Um, it's really funny. We like to mess with our friend from California when we do that because she kind of hates it. Um, we gave our friend from California a rundown on Midwest cars, like family cars, um, because every family that lives like in the country anyways, like middle class, has like the same cars. There's the nice car. In my family, this is my mom's car. It's an Acura. It's like a 5-seater kind of, I don't know. All of our cars have four-wheel drive because we live on a giant hill. So if they don't have four-wheel drive, we can't get up the driveway in the winter. Um, so she has the Acura. Then there's the family vehicle, which is like ours is a Honda Pilot. Um, like 8-seater van kind of car, you know. Um, then there is the kid car, usually not in the best condition, like old, used, or just like, you know, whatever. And then there is the truck. Um, Usually old and beat up as well. Ours runs out of power steering fluid pretty regularly, so we'll quite literally only use it to take the garbage in and to get mulch for my mom's gardens. Um, yeah. My roommate has like the same thing, except like they have an extra car for her brother. Even in my family, all the kids just share one car. It's a Ford Escape. It's my dad's old car. The headlights are, well, actually, the headlights aren't that janky anymore. There used to be one that just pointed into the trees. Um, yeah, and then my brother hit another deer. Another being like my dad had already hit deer in that car, so then another deer is like, you know. Um, yeah. So there's that. I guess I'll start wrapping up. My favorite song this week has probably been from Måneskin's new album Rush. I like Baby Said and Gasoline, and I also like all of the Italian ones, but the bass line in Gasoline. If you've never listened to any of the songs I've recommended on here, go. It takes like 30 seconds. Just go, not even. Just play the beginning of that one. The bass part is ridiculous, especially if you like have listened to Måneskin's music before, because this bass part is just fucking ridiculous. And you'll know what I mean if you go listen to it. Um so yeah. Thank you for listening if you're still here, and I'll see you next time.